What's up, everybody? My name is Mr. Info 5000, and today the video that follows me is from a gentleman named Jason Whitlock, and the show is called Fearless, and it's on YouTube. So go check him out. The question that Jason asked his guest was, why is black on black violence so accepted today in the black culture? There's songs about it. You ain't this or you ain't that until you got bodies under your belt and things like that. And so his guest proceeds to answer, and the answer was just perfect, spot on, and he hit it real good. So make sure after I'm done talking, y'all check that part of this video out. My opinion on it is, there's a huge segment of the black population, if you ask them this same question, they will immediately start to blame the white man, and they'll use such terms as systemic racism, which I like to call it mythical racism, because I don't think it exists. There's this urban legend, could be true, I don't know, but that mysteriously, like it was in this particular time, it was in Chicago, a crate of guns just show up in the alley. And is that your excuse for so much violence in Chicago? You can put a crate of guns in front of me all day. If I don't touch it, nobody gets hurt. So say if they did bring the crate of guns in there, the crate of guns can sit there. And you know, if you don't take them out of there and shoot people, nobody gets hurt. There was the thing during the crack epidemic that it was brought in by the US government, the FBI, and this, that, and the other. Don't know if it's true, don't know if it's not. But if, let's just say hypothetically it was brought in by the government, does that mean you have to, ooh, I was about to curse. Does that mean you have to sit there and smoke crack? How about this? What do you need to do to stop the violence in your community? And believe me, this is not an empty, there's several facets to why these things are happening in black communities: lack of fathers and brainwashing by the Democrat Party, abortion. I mean, there's all type of things. But the bottom line is, what are you willing to do to stop this? I'll make it easy real quick. If you have a gun, make sure it's legal. And how about this? Don't shoot nobody that's not harming you. Shoot in self-defense. Don't shoot because he a op. But it seems it's actually pretty simple to me. It has a lot of facets to it, the violence that goes on in our country. But this is something I do not understand. When is it, regardless of whatever, however you've been raised in this, that, and the other, I know you know right from wrong. Any reason that you give me that you committed violence against somebody, this, that, and the other, I can just wipe it all away and say, I can say, do you know right from wrong? You know right from wrong. Unless you're a psycho lunatic that needs to be locked up in a house, in a crazy house, or if you can't put together just a sentence in, you know what I mean? Right from wrong. They know right from wrong. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this part of the video, but what follows me, check this video out. I know there's a lot of you out there that's gonna really appreciate what the gentleman has to say. His name is Delano Squires. So check this out.
Why is black on black violence so acceptable in American culture?
I think the answer is fairly simple. It's multifaceted, but it's simple. The sort of top line reason at this point is that the black community, sort of the mainstream black left, we don't have leaders, Jason. The people that we think are leaders, and I'm not just saying they're not leaders because nobody's listening to, Stephen A. or they're not listening to Barack Obama. I'm not. That's not my argument, right? There are people who follow these people, who get their views shaped by these people. We don't have leaders because the most influential people in the black community, the Afrostocracy, the 5 Ps, the politicians, the pundits, the professors, the preachers, and the performers, don't lead black folk because they never tell us that we have to correct or do anything. The people who we think of as black leaders are really white leaders because they spend all of their time trying to correct the behavior and the thoughts and the actions of white people. So in this, Jason, you know this, as a college athlete, when your coach came or your position coach came, they coached you. They didn't coach your opponent. They told you what you had to clean up. They said, no, you got to turn that foot in. You got to strike the defensive lineman in his chest in this particular position. And that's how you know you were getting coached. But if you came into film session and your coach just spent 25 minutes on some other player and they never addressed anything that you had to clean up, then you would say, well, this guy's he's not concerned with my growth or development. He's leading somebody else. And that's what we have in the black community today. So none of these people ever has anything to say about anything that we, black folk, need to do to improve the conditions in our own families and communities. All of their commentary is geared towards white people. White people must buy these books, listen to these podcasts, live in these neighborhoods, go to these schools, post these messages. And that's all it is, over and over again. And I think that had been simmering under the surface for a while. But George Floyd's death brought that all the way to the surface. And
I love
first,
where you just where you just took my head, because I'm literally sitting there thinking about being a football coach. Let's say I'm Bill Belichick, and let's say I'm playing the New York Jets this week, and let's say Bill Belichick kept going to his team, the Patriots, and saying, here's what the Jets need to do in order for us to be successful. And so every day this week, he would go in and say, if the Jets do this and this and this, we'll be successful. His players would look at him like, well, what do we need to do? They're paying you money to tell us what we need to do. You're telling us what the Jets need to do in order for us to be successful. He would be looked at as a fool and run out. But all of Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson back when he was functional and whoever they allow on TV, you're right. They spend their entire time coaching the other team.
Yep.
And I don't understand why we tolerate it or why it's allowed or how they get away with that or how we can't see that that's what we're doing.
I mean, we could push the analogy forward. I think the reason why is because most players would rather focus on the faults and the flaws of somebody else than their own. No guy wants to sit in film session for 45 minutes going over how he missed a block or he missed an assignment or he dogged a route. So when these quote unquote leaders do their shtick and they say, oh, it's white people, but it's white flight if white people leave the neighborhood. It's gentrification if they move into the neighborhood. But always and at all times, their goal is to keep us focused on race and to keep us focused on the things that white people say, do, and think. And that is the actual white supremacy that is most prevalent in the black community today. That is the true white superiority complex. If the white man does it, it is very important. If he says a crossword, it's very important. If he says the same words that you, Mr. Black Man, say, it's very important. But when you say something, right, when you degrade a black woman, when you promote violence against black men, it's not nearly as important. And that's why Don Imus got run off the air and Snoop Dogg gets to smoke reefer with Martha Stewart. So this is where we are, as a community. And getting back to the question you asked me, there's no uglier truth in our community than what you talked about.